Welcome to VSB News Online for Monday, December 29th. I'm Peter Cattell. Another man has been charged with the murder of Prince Barrington Edness. Charles Webb has the details.
Joshua Usher appeared in Magistrates Court today charged with murdering Prince Barrington Edness on December the 7th and being concerned with others not before the court of being in possession of a firearm, taking flight whilst in possession of a firearm, possessing the firearm with a barrel longer than 24 inches, and being in possession of .40 Winchester ammunition. The 21-year-old was not required to enter a plea, since it's an indictable offense that will be heard in the Supreme Court. Magistrate Tamisa Tukumbo remanded Usher in custody until January the 12th, when he will appear for mention. Meanwhile, in another matter, lawyer Kamir Worrell made a second appearance in court today, charged with perverting the course of justice. This charge arises out of a Supreme Court case, and Worrell is charged with two others. Through his counsel, Saul Desmond, Worrell attempted to have his police reporting times adjusted due to his court business and having to appear before the Privy Council in London. Mr. Tukumbo said he saw no reason to alter the reporting process and advised Worrell that as an accused person he could not be treated differently from others. He will appear again in 2 weeks' time. For VSB News, I'm Charles Webb.
One of the most controversial stories of 2014 was the ill-fated plans of the Corporation of Hamilton to stage the 40th Annual Convention of Black Mayors, a major event that attracted a slew of unfavorable media expose, but was pursued stubbornly through two postponements. VSB News' Brian Darby brings us up to date on the current state of play.
Mystery surrounds the future of the conference that was destined to bring hundreds of black mayors from around the world to Bermuda in 2014 before having to be postponed twice. The US-based conference of black mayors was to have taken place here most recently in November, but when the travel plans of an estimated 200 delegates from Africa were threatened by the Ebola crisis, the conference was put back to what was described as the first available date of next year. Nothing has been heard since, and all inquiries to the hosting Corporation of Hamilton have been met with a wall of silence. Vanessa Williams, chief executive of the Conference of Black Mayors, said at the time that several African nations, including Nigeria, Uganda, Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire, Rwanda, Ghana, South Africa and Kenya, had planned to send major delegations to the event. When it became clear that their travel plans would be affected by the Ebola outbreak, other delegates from the Caribbean and Latin America called for a postponement until such time as the African delegates will be able to take part. Deputy Mayor of Hamilton, Donald Smith, who is chairman of the local organizing committee, said at the time that the event's move to next year would enable delegates to regroup and stage an even better event. But he declined to discuss the matter when approached by VSB News. Brian Darby reporting for VSB News.
Think engineering, painting, and landscaping. They are just some of the myriad of careers represented in today's careers fair at the Fairmont Hamilton Princess, where some 250 people had visited to learn about some of the 150 positions opening up at the hotel. And that was before lunchtime. Landscaper Alan Hughes, with 40 years' experience, guest services manager Dante Hunt, and painter Philip Woods tell VSB's Charles Webb of the response they received from prospective employees.
From most of the people I've spoke to this morning, they're really excited about this opportunity to come around here, and they're really serious about looking for some work at the moment. And I'm seeing a lot of youngsters who they just don't know where they're going, and they're looking for something, some kind of destiny where they want what they want to do. They're not sure, but they're coming and talking about it, which is refreshing because they're just not sure about the career, where they're going. But I think it's a great opportunity for them to come and talk to professionals in our industry and get a general idea.
But landscaping is not something one would normally think about when they come to an hotel.
Well, at the Hamilton Princess, our standard of landscaping here is very manicured, very small area, and everything's got to be immaculate. And not only that, we have to be cautious of the guests. So it's not a case of using loud machines and things like this, right? You've got to really have a good understanding for our clientele. So you just, they ask you questions. They want to know about what's going on out there. So, there's so much more than, it's not just cutting grass and hedges. We don't use machetes around here. They know how to prune. We teach the youngsters how to prune. And, the shrubbery we have, it's, we try and give a contrast in colors, so you don't always have the right colors at the right seasons. So there's so much more, but the guests are really interesting about the plant life around the hotel and the island. So we kind of give them a good introduction. So all my staff need to know what I know.
We pride ourselves off of tourism. We pride ourselves off of service and relationship building. And so that's the type of people we're looking for. And I've seen a few today.
I was going to ask you, do you get an opportunity to sort of suss out what you might see in the future?
Of course. And that's the whole point of today. The whole point is to give persons the idea of what to expect when you come in, to set them up for success. And so we tell them, and I tell them, this is how it goes. Basically, you want to greet a guest, make them happy, put a smile on their face. If you can, make them feel better than they did when they walked through that door. And that's the power we have as humans. We can make change in how people feel. But, it has to be, you have to be that sort of character. It has to be within you. It's not in everybody, and that's okay.
Well, basically, we haven't had anyone that actually apply for the painting positions yet, but I try to suggest to them that there's all sorts of openings, and right now we're going to be doing a lot of renovations, so there's all sorts of opportunities in the maintenance department. So if they have any qualifications, just fill out the application and we will take them on board when should we need them. And like I said, with all these new renovations coming up, there's so many opportunities open, and we're glad to have them on board, and just being able to apply themselves is all we ask.
Do you think people are aware of the scope that goes on behind the scenes?
Most of them are not really aware, but I try to encourage them and let them know what sort of openings there are. Because engineering is not just me as a painter. There's plumbers, there's electricians, there's all sorts of openings there. So even in the boiler room, you come into the boiler room with no knowledge, you can learn something. I came to this field 17 years ago with hardly any knowledge of painting, but just working with the plumbers, the electricians and whatnot, I've got a world of knowledge that just helps me in my home life.
Minister of Economic Development Dr. Grant Gibbons has formally applied to incorporate a local company with limited liability to be called ACBDA Limited. This is in keeping with the promise made by Dr. Gibbons that authorities would hit the ground running to ensure that the organizational structures would be in place early in 2015 to carry through on Bermuda's responsibilities to host the America's Cup events. Said Dr. Gibbons, "We need a focused administrative organization that will work closely with the America's Cup Event Authority on the management and supervision of the responsibilities of the host country." To give you some idea of what the hosting will involve, the year 2017, for example, will offer a Youth America's Cup, Challenger Playoffs, Concert Series, Super Yacht Regatta, and the finals of the America's Cup in June. Bermuda is in the rare position of having been able to attract, as the hospital's first full-time oncologist, a 15-year veteran of the war against cancer, Dr. Shine Ong, whose wife just happens to be a doctor as well, with an interest in gerontology. VSB News' Brian Darby met with Dr. Ong today for the American's first media interview and found him still enthused about the news that Bermuda is to have its own state-of-the-art radiation technology at the Cancer and Health Center.
I was interested in oncology since I was in England when I was we call the house officer and senior house officer. Since that time, I was interested in oncology. So when I got in America, I have a chance to be trained in oncology. So I'm happy to take care of the oncology patients. And
how many years?
I have been 15 years, working 15 years in oncology in U.S.
You've seen treatment change quite a lot in
Absolutely. So I saw the difference in terms of the standard of care and adding new treatment since I was fellow and then, practicing for 15 years. So I see a lot of improvement, and there's so many good, news, and then, we are excited in some area. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we are a small community, but we have certain money, resources and what have you, more than perhaps many. We've done well with it. We've built hospitals and we've built equipment, we bought equipment. Were you happy to see this recent radiation move by the health center?
Absolutely. That's a really good news for us, for the islander, because radiation oncology is very important as part of the cancer therapy. And sometimes we give the chemotherapy alone, sometimes we give the radiation therapy alone, sometimes we give combination, and sometimes we give one after another, but sometimes we give together. So, the good news is for our oncology patients, having the radiation oncology inside here is the real plus, because, they don't have to go abroad just for the radiation. And, the radiation treatment is actually it's not long, but the duration of the treatment every day is a very quick treatment. But the patient have to stay there for a long time.
Months.
Absolutely, like months. So the patient, not only patient, some patients they need family or friends to take care of them. So we are losing manpower here. Just for the patient. And also, like psychologically, emotionally, support, everything will be plus if we can give therapy here. Not only that, some patients, if we have to give chemo, radiation together, then we can do here. And, before we can give chemo here, but because no radiation therapy available, I still have to send patient overseas. Now, that kind of patient, they don't have to leave, so we can treat here.
That's great news.
Yes, absolutely.
You mentioned psychology, certain amount of emotion and everything else. Is it your thoughts, as well as my own, I suppose, that the attitude that you bring to the disease and perhaps the confidence you get back from the doctor is half the story?
Yes, like patient, the good attitude, positive attitude is very important. And when they are, they feel depressed, they feel lonely, that's also not good for cancer. Yeah. Absolutely. And then here, in the same, in their own home with their families, friends, and that would be great.
And now we turn to Earl Baisden with today's sports report.
Several sports took place over the Christmas holiday period. We will start with football that took place on Boxing Day at the Wellington Oval. In the Shield semi-final opener, the Young Man Social Club came from behind to defeat the defending champions, Somerset Eagles, 5-4. Social Club got 2 goals from Zico Lewis and single strikes from Nikki Armstrong, Meckley Smith, and Shakai Tuzo, while the Somerset Eagles got goals from Tristan Smith, Wakeo Tucker, Kenai Frey, and Matteo Franzoni. In the Friendship semi-final, a lone first-half strike from Trey Dill earned Robin Hood a 1-0 victory over the defending champion Somerset Trojans as they earned a berth into the final for New Year's Day. Also on Boxing Day in football, Rotherham staged a late comeback to claim an unlikely point as Nicky Wells and his Huddersfield Town teammates blew a 2-goal lead in a pulsating 2-2 draw at the New York Stadium. A splendid second-half fight-back earned bottom club Hartlepool a 1-1 draw at Reggie Lamb's Mansfield Town in a fiery Boxing Day contest that also saw 3 red cards. The Bermuda Football Association held the FA Cup first-round draw at the Wellington Oval on Boxing Day with 3 All-Premier Division matchups. The matches are scheduled to take place on January 17th and 18th, with 2 teams at the foot of the table, Southampton Rangers facing St. George's Colts. In the other interesting and All-Premier Division matchups, it will see Hamilton Parish take on the Dandytown Hornets, while the Devonshire Cougars will take on the Flanagan's Onions. Second place in the First Division, Boulevard Blazers, will meet third place, the Wolves. In harness pony racing action at the National Equestrian Center on Vesey Street on Boxing Day, Heat 1 saw Colonels B with Arthur Hurst in the bike win the 1:13 and slower division time bar class, crossing the line in a time of 1:22.3. Panama Red and Tom Matthews finished second in a time of 1:51.2. Tea time with Jeremy Miller in the bike won Heat 2 of the 110-4 to 112-4 time bar division class. They clocked a time of 110-2, while Colonel Cyclone and Maurice Rayner finished second in a time of 112-2. Heat 5 saw Keith Woodley in the bike of Bronus Girl cross the line first in a time of 108-1 during the 108-3 to 110-3 time bar class. Stay tuned with Dale Miller in the bike finished second in a time of 110-1. Simsfield's Hard Times and Kaiwan Dill finished third, clocking 111-1, and Smooth Operator with Ernest Painter finished fourth in a time of 111-2. The 2014-15 motocross season got underway at Southside Motorsports Park on Boxing Day, but not without incidents. Samir Darrow injured his wrist early in the day, while Tristan Rocha suffered a concussion. Meanwhile, on Saturday in football action at Bernard Park, Devonshire Colts advanced to the Shield final after extra time and penalty kicks over BAA. After a scoreless first half, Jair Miners gave BAA the lead in the 60th minute. However, Bernal Lamb equalized for the Devonshire Colts in the 67th minute. The teams failed to score in the rest of regulation. They also failed to score in extra time, thus having the match decided on kicks from the penalty mark, where Devonshire Colts advanced, winning 4-3. The Dandytown Hornets advanced to the Friendship Final with a 3-2 win over the PHC Zebras after extra time. Dandytown Hornets got 2 goals from Damon Ming and a single strike from Clay Darrow, while Shakir Smith and Ryan Hassel scored for the PHC Zebras. Nakee Wells scored a late winner as Huddersfield hit back to claim a 2-1 win over Bolton. Wells scored in the 85th minute. Bury scored in each half to claim a 2-0 win against Reggie Lamb and his Mansfield Town teammates and move back to the brink of the League 2 playoffs. The 2014-15 Flying Colours mountain bike race season series continued with some 101 riders taking to the course around Lagoon Park. Robin Horsfield won the male A race, clocking a time of 50:02.404, completing 9 laps. Horsfield was pushed all the way, edging Matthew Oliveira into second. Oliveira clocked a time of 50:02.821, and Mark Hatherley finished third in a time of 52:05.281. The male B division race also saw another close finish as Dylan Hill outlegged Andrew Hearn. Hill was clocked across the line in a time of 40:56.222. Hearn finished second, recording a time of 40:58.362. The Orange Bowl Sailing Regatta in the Biscayne Bay in Florida continued with all fleets taking to the water. Bermuda sailors are representing the Royal Hamilton Amateur Dinghy Club and the Royal Bermuda Yacht Club. In the Optimus Green Fleet, after 6 races, Christian Eben moved up from his 13th place starting position and is currently in second with 25 points. Aidan Lopes started the day in 19th place but moved up to 5th with 36 points. Mickey Woolman is currently leading the Laser Fleet after 2 races with 8 points. Back to football, Devonshire Colts advanced to the Premier Development League Christmas Tournament Final with a 2-1 win over the PHC Zebras at BAA Field yesterday. Devonshire Colts took the lead in the 31st minute when Eli Smith found the back of the net. In the second half, PHC controlled much of the play but could not find the target until the 79th minute when Ryan Hassel scored. Just when most thought the match was going to be decided by a kick from the penalty mark, Devonshire Colts got the winner through Allington Weldon Jr. In the other semi-final match, Southampton Rangers advanced to the final with a 2-1 win over the North Village Rams. Southampton Rangers went in front in the 24th minute when Shannon Burchell scored. In the 64th minute, Rangers would double that lead when Shakai Swan found the back of the net. North Village Rams would, however, pull a goal back when Keon Knight scored 4 minutes later. However, there were no further goals as Southampton Rangers advanced to the finals. I'm Earl Basden reporting for VSB Sports.
Looking at the weather for Tuesday, December 30th, there will be sunny breaks with occasional showers overnight. Winds southwesterly, strong gusts to gale force, rapidly veering northwesterly, moderate to strong, with gusts to strong overnight. A high near 74, a low near 63. This report is courtesy of the Bermuda Weather Service. Thanks for watching VSB News Online for Monday, December 29th. I'm Peter Cattell.